Vyrah reporting for duty. It's been a while. I had medical issues that lead me to have a fucking stupid life. Um, Today we're long stream. Let me check if my actual audio. Can you? Oh my, if my audio fucking functions properly. Uh, Let me check. Fuck. It's fine. Yeah, okay. Okay, so today we're gonna start off the day with some React. I've seen some like I think there's like the new, why the fuck my OBS is like this? Can you like not be this fucking like oh whatever. Yeah. So today we're gonna start off with like some React. After that, I need to check out what's going on with WoW. Like I've been like away from my favorite game for a long time. Yeah, so there is a lot of new game coming out. Uh so we'll check it out. We'll check it out. The first one is where is it? Where is it? This one. This one is actually something that interests me. Like, let me check. So Resident Evil on fucking PS5. So maybe I'll fucking buy a PS5 at the end of the day, huh? There are two. It's the same, right? Yeah, okay. Let's check it out. I'll put the caption so you can read. All right. Best girl. Directly. Best girl.
Grace. Grace. Grace Ashcroft.
Yes?
My office.
Oh, coming.
Completely best girl. So what's going on?
If this is about the report you asked for yesterday, it'll be ready in 3. No, 2 days, tops.
Put a hold on that for now. We found another body. One that exhibits the same pathology as the others we've been investigating. Now I need a good technical analyst on this.
Okay.
I need your eyes on the crime scene. The Renwood Hotel. I know that's where your mother was murdered. Alyssa died 8 years ago. Perhaps it's time for you to face the past.
Bro, the dude has no chill. The dude has zero chill.
What is this?
Stay close. They're coming.
I know now that
out you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Please know that you are my hope.
Everyone's gone.
Okay, let me just check real quick all of what the fuck. So this game I actually never played a Resident Evil game because too scary, too spooky. I will actually play this one just for the lols, just for the fluff. Let me just check if there's a button on my fucking like thing that makes it so life sucks if okay, let me just wait. 1 2 life just sucks if I press it. So I don't know if I need to rewatch it or not. Should have like okay. Stream footage. I press this. Okay. Replay. Oh yeah, right. Okay, so I gotta say, the dude has no fucking chill, gotta admit, because yeah, it's only where like it's the only like it's where your mom died fucking like 8 years ago, the exact same place. Maybe it's time to face the fucking past. How did she die? Fucking violent murder zombie. It's time to face the past. You know? Like what the fuck? This must be interesting. Still, best girl, yes, but she cannot. Does not. She is not. Um. She is not. Ashley Graham, best girl. She's best girl, but she's not Ashley Graham, best girl. Okay. Okay, so this was the first trailer. Let me just let me just get to let me just get to there's like a fuck ton of trailers for some reasons. Like, and they're actually kind of nice. Kind of nice for a lot of them. So let's check it out. Maybe there's a game other than fucking Elden Ring that I'll play and wow. Is this possible? Well, Resident Evil, I'll play it. Resident Evil, fuck it, I'll play it. Okay. Pragmata's First Contact.
The future. It isn't just a dream. It's a promise. One we're turning into reality.
Looks fancy.
With our third generation of Luna filament and advanced generative AI, we're reshaping the line between dreams and reality. We create life for our future. Delphi Corporation.
Let's see about getting passed through to Earth. And why are these things trying to kill us?
There you are. All better.
You patched me up?
I am DI-03367. They are pragmatic.
Hang on a second. Don't you have a name or something? I'm good. Get behind me!
I think I can help.
Targets identified. Neutralizing threats.
Neutralize us?
Looks like we're gonna have to fight our way through. What the?
Bypassing first and second firewalls. Hooking control protocols. Initiating hack.
Hey, D.I.
I said I am DI.
Okay. Look, how about we call you Diana?
Diana?
That's actually a beautiful trailer. Really, really not the game that I will play because I fucking hate the co-op type of video games that like where like you're kind of fucked with having like an AI playing with you, and especially where the AI is like just children. Like I think that like The Last of Us made it The Last of Us really showed how difficult it is to actually create an interesting video game with an AI companion that is also fun. There is this The Last of Us and God of War 2, right? These two games makes it so like I do not believe that like it can be interesting. Though, you know, like maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's a game for you, so we'll see. I'll be right. Give me just 1 second. Okay. Next on we have Bakudo. So wait, let me just check. I don't know what it is. It is some weep stuff. I don't know what it is. Let's check it out. I thought it was something else, like whatever. So it is a pure arena, but there's two sides. Okay, no clue. It seems like a sports game, but like two-sided sports game type of stuff. I don't know. We'll check it out. We'll check it out. I'll probably won't check it out, to be honest. Like, not my style of game, but you know, like interesting, like beautiful character design though. I love the style. Anyway, next on we have another trailer. This one is interesting. I didn't play the Atomic Heart one because the girl robots didn't had what wasn't pretty enough. Okay, so if the girl robot that has no face and basically is really like really Soviet is not pretty enough, I didn't play it. No, I'm pretty sure my computer will have burned. Like the game itself like sounded this not much interesting, but the fact that they released a second one is actually something interesting. Let me just like do my paranoia. Yeah, the fact that they want to release a second one though, after the first one wasn't an exact success, but it wasn't like a complete failure. Let's check it out. It is Soviets, after all.
The great Silkovsky once said, one could count 1,000,000 billion suns in the known universe. So why do we deny other intelligent beings? It is said, if they were out there, they would have visited Earth. My answer is, maybe they will visit us. But time has not come yet for this. The dawn of a new era. The era of Atomic Heart 2.
Okay, so this is interesting because like this gives me like a lot of Just Cause vibes. I don't know if you remember Just Cause, but it's this like open world where like you can do whatever the fuck you want, but not like GTA where like you can do everything you want. It's more like Just Cause where it's like you can do whatever the fuck you want. We'll see. We'll see if it's interesting enough. If the first like the first reviews, like the first people that actually like get into this game actually are into that. Maybe, but really a maybe. Because like really not like I didn't like too much Just Cause. Maybe if the story is interesting, I don't fucking know. Anyway, and wait, because what? Because we got some more fucking trailer. I took a fucking week break, and there's like 17 trailers. Like, I think. Yeah, okay. This is, yeah, there is like an interesting ones as well. So this one interests me. Let's check it out.
遥か昔この国に輪廻の獣が現れた。
Okay, let's do it again.
遥か昔この国に輪廻の獣が現れた。輪廻の獣は汚れを吐き、あらゆる生物を蝕んだ。
Game free. Okay, this is really pretty.
西暦4026年、人類は滅亡を待つのみ。封じ子エマ、お前こそが輪廻の獣を滅ぼす刃となる。
Okay, this is the type of title that will make me buy a fucking PlayStation. Like, what the fuck? This is beautiful. This is absolutely unbearably like this is like this this is so artistic that that it becomes to be offensive to me. Like, what the fuck? So many colors, such a beautiful aura. Like, it's really, 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 really interesting. Like, I'm really curious to see what and the game seems interesting as well. Like the gameplay, etc., etc. Like this is this yeah. I'll fucking buy it. This is a great one. Okay. There's one more fucking trailer. One more fucking trailer. And then I'm done. And then we react to actual content. To actual content, yeah.
Zafar, pull up Navtech.
Just a sec. Got it.
Taki. We gonna find out about your Kopang right quick, okay?
Just want to do him justice. Stuck his neck out for us. Least we can do is get him out alive.
We've got big enough guns to make justice, all right?
Oh, Michael. To a man with a hammer, just about everything looks like a nail.
Aim for show. Time to say oh yeah with our hammer.
Missile range in 1 minute.
Brace yourselves. We're going for a spin. Zafar, did you get a signal?
After the large haul down this corridor, they shut down this part of the facility. Long time before our arrival.
Fine. Let's deal with those guys first.
In Yolota. They never look up. Zafar, you were right. They shut down this.
Wait!
Yolota! I need backup!
Hold on, I'm coming!
I'll cover you.
Thanks.
I can't see shit from here.
The bird up high shall be thine eyes.
here. Hey, buddy.
What the fuck? Oh wow.
Glad you're still breathing.
Best girl found. Yeah, the Expanse Reborn. I don't know what the fuck is going on my screen. Maybe it's interesting. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not into this sci-fi type of stuff. You really have to fucking like sell it well for me to get into that. But yeah. Okay. Let's get into actual react. Let's react to actual stuff. So, let's go back to the good old sad thing that is called reality.
Fun fact about me, in the year of our Lord 2024, I am officially 25 years old.
God, I feel old for saying that.
And in those 25 years of my life, I've been into anime for a solid quarter of those years. I got into anime right as I started high school, which was early 2010s. And man, if you were also a low self-esteem teenager trying to discover themselves and you found anime, you just know that is a match made in hell right there. There's a lot of memories I'd rather leave repressed.
Ugh. Brother, ugh. What's that? What's that, brother?
And even though I'm not the oldest AniTuber on the block, I've been here long enough to have witnessed some iconic moments in anime. I remember the big three dominating the shonen genre. Haruhi was still super popular when I got into anime, with the Endless 8 drama still breaking early anime forum boards. I was there when Oreimo made incest popular way before Oshinoko did. Shout out to the OG incest fans who watched both seasons of this train wreck. I was there when SAO was made into the dead horse that the community likes to beat on, and I'm still here seeing the insane rise of the isekai genre and watching anime studios make collaborations I never thought I'd ever see. But even as things change and we get animes that are constantly pushing the bar higher and higher, the one thing that doesn't change is where most animes are set. Because if you're a committed weeb, you don't truly leave high school. Seriously, think about it. We watch animes with worlds that are magical and sometimes mundane, yet the universal constant for anime is this goddamn classroom. There are shows with post-apocalyptic settings so bad that humanity has been defeated and is nearing extinction, and we still have to come in and take an SAT? Like, really? What's next? Something anime about paying taxes? Nice try, Fed. And what's weird is that we as a community have seemingly accepted the high school setting. In a day and age where we call whatever anime we don't like mid, you don't see too many people complaining about anime being so focused on high school. So that got me curious. Why is anime so high school centric, and why has it been the industry's go-to setting for so long? I mean, there are animes and mangas that are set in college and in the workplace that are fairly popular, so you would think that would be motivation enough to experiment with other settings. But the answer that I found goes a lot deeper than just industry trends and cliches. The answer is a lot more complicated and a lot more depressing.
Cause I've been drowning in My melodies are Japanese, net rap. Jesus, Japanese. It's the Far East vibes, my
If
guy.
you ask your average online weeb why so many shows are set in high school, the average answer that you'd get is that it sells well. In Japan, most animes are aimed at kids, teens, and young adults, so it makes sense to create stories that cater to their main audience. And that kinda tracks. Majority of the people who watch anime in Japan are 5 to 19 years old. They're at that age where responsibilities are low, free time is high, no bills to pay, no rent to worry about. All it is just go to school, go to your clubs, go to the
no existential dread to think about.
school festival, and just do your best and have fun. But it's not as simple as anime makes it out to be. It's no surprise that Japan has a very strict culture when it comes to working. I mean, we have an entire anime about a dude being happy in a zombie apocalypse just because he doesn't have to go to his toxic job anymore. But this strict culture of working and expectations also extends to students in high school. Japanese students are faced with immense pressure to succeed academically. This is because to get into university, they have to take some kind of entrance exam. The more prestigious the university, the more difficult the exam is. Think of like the CSAT test in Korea, but less standardized. These exams are some of the important events for a high schooler, and if they fail, they would have to wait an entire year or more just to take the exam again. And in a society that actively suppresses people that stand out from the crowd and worships conforming to the masses, the pressure is real for these kids to succeed. Just to give you an idea, in a survey by the OECD, they found that the top anxieties faced by students in Japan isn't even how difficult a subject is, but rather if they can perform at all during the test itself, alongside getting good grades. And when asked what their primary motivation is for studying, they just want to get into a good university, which you can only get through the one entrance exam. There's no personal satisfaction for them. It's one test, one chance, one university. Anything else is just filler arc. And it goes without saying that this leads some students to result in taking drastic measures given what they're facing, with students as young as 12 to 15 years old being involved in this. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Not every student in Japan is horribly depressed. Or at least I hope so.
I have crippling depression.
But this has become notorious enough that there are loud criticisms of the Japanese education system with calls to reform to ease the pressure off of students. And the thing is, I can't even say that the light at the end of the tunnel for all these kids is something to look forward to as well, because as we all know, Japanese work culture is horribly notorious. At this point in time, there are so many YouTubers who make content in Japan that have talked about the dark side of Japanese work culture, so I'm not gonna retread the same ground. If you follow any of these channels, chances are you're more than familiar with terms like karoshi, which literally means death by being overworked, or black companies, which are basically sweatshops in office form. But the one thing I want to focus on is the concept of Premium Fridays. Premium Fridays was an initiative started by the late Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Please Have Sex, I Am No Longer Asking Abe, that allowed employees to leave work on a Friday as early as 3 p.m. This was done in the hopes of giving workers in Japan a better chance at having some work-life balance and potentially helping with the declining birth rate, as more personal time just means more time to go out and have a life. And you might think, that doesn't sound like a bad idea at all. It's
yeah.
Anyway, it's a slow day for most offices. If you've ever worked corporate America, you know that Friday evening work is Monday morning's problems. But it really didn't work out the way they wanted it to. The Premium Friday initiative was basically a failure, with the government having just recently pulled the plug on the initiative as of 2023. Out of the biggest companies in Japan, about half of them didn't even implement the initiative, and with another 37% of them basically saying, yeah, we'll think about it. And what's more depressing is that in a survey of 1.6 thousand workers, only 3.4% of them said that their bosses would even sign off on them going home early. So even if you worked at a company that was involved in the Premium Friday, if your manager still said no, it renders the whole thing moot anyway. What started off as a plan to revitalize the economy and for people to hopefully bump uglies, it ended as an unceremonious whimper. Remember kids, Agretsuko is not a funny anime about animals, but a tale of capitalism and how your workplace absolutely doesn't care about you. Now, Where am I going with all these depressing stats? It sounds like I'm yapping about a tangent of a tangent, so let me put things back on track. The simple answer as to why there are so many animes set in high school is that it's escapism. Imagine that you're one of the thousands of Japanese salarymen or women that are overworked and undervalued. You just got home after a night out at the bar because you couldn't say no to your boss's invitation, or
Yeah, it's basically what I think about it, because like as a European dude that actually also like went to fucking high school and stuff, it's the fucking yeah, no fuck, because like students are not fucking stupid, right? And at this age, you're just like ahead of you is a life of work where you probably will not be happy. The jobs that we are proposed are fucking stupid. It goes from stupid, like some people like me is they get lucky because simply, well, yeah, I don't get paid for doing all this, but at least I'm having fun, right? But there is like so many kids that are just like, yeah, so this is the last line, and we barely have the time to fucking make friends, and we barely have the time to fucking like party or something, you know? And the reality of it all is that, like, at least from my perspective, because he will give his perspective right now, is that at this moment in time, you know, well, like everything is lost for everyone, all the kids in high school and stuff. You get the, but what about you get an adventure instead? You know? What about you get an adventure instead? And you don't get to fucking like keep on licking the same fucking pages of the same fucking book for like for a fucking knowledge that you don't really care about. All this to end up in the same fucking office as all you your your school friends, and then ending up with like the same fucking workload that is like completely unbearable, right? But what about an adventure instead? At this moment in time, where you already know what's in the end, what's on the end of the line, you know? And basically, I think that this is an appeal for a lot of anime, where like this escapism is like it comes from like, yeah, but fuck that, let's go on an adventure. And yeah, you know, what would have been better having adventures in this life? Fuck life, dude.
or else you'd be seen as a bad employee, you're tired, you're miserable, and your social battery is beyond zero at this point. You wish that you didn't have to do this again tomorrow, but you've consigned yourself to the depressing reality that this is your life for the next 5 to 10 years. And if that is what you have to look forward to on the daily, why would you want to watch something that reminds you of it? Wouldn't you want to get away for a bit, to think of a world much better than ours? I know I went off on how high school is this academic black hole for students that sucks in hope and spits out stress and depressed needs. And while it is that to an extent, for many Japanese adults, it's also a nostalgic golden era for them. It's a time of young, dumb, innocent love. It's a time of ignorant teens trying to discover themselves and prove to the world that they exist. It's a time of freedom, of late night hangouts and with nothing but your friends and the moon keeping you company. It's also a time of fear, knowing that come graduation, this will all end one day.
In the West of like high school is like, you know, usually movies that are based in high school in the West are based off bad memories.
Yeah.
You know, being like, oh man, my high school fucking sucked, blah, blah, blah. There were all these shit people, the jocks, the bullies, blah, blah, blah. Right? That's the norm in the West. In Japan, it's glorified because to a lot of people, high school was a really fun time with like friends they'll never get back. And like, because it's also the last years of that person being young and free.
I mean, I liked high school, but I wouldn't say
I liked high school.
And by and large, high school animes do a pretty good job in reflecting this. Growing up, I've always wanted to attend a Japanese high school cultural festival. And I know you shouldn't be using anime as a basis for a lot of things in real life, but plenty of anime show cultural festivals looking fun as all hell. Students running around trying to get things done on time, the laid-back atmosphere as everyone just wants to enjoy their day, the bustling crowd of students and families going from one booth to another, how you could just get lost in the sea of people and finding a quiet corner with your friends to take all of it in. There's no dread of tomorrow in that moment, but only the joy and fun of the present. It gives off major Anemoya vibes, memories that you might not have, but ones that you can relate to. I'm not Japanese myself, but I can totally see someone who is using scenes like this to get lost in their own memories. In a society where the rat race never seems to end, taking a moment to just stop and exist and to remember the good old days is probably a luxury, one that you can easily indulge in with the amount of anime and manga that are set in high school. Add on the fact that high school settings are just easier to justify story-wise. If a teenage character wants to buy something, then the story can just make them get a part-time job or wait for an allowance. If an adult character wants to buy something, then you gotta address really boring questions like rent, being able to afford food, traveling, or even personal hobbies. If a story had to address every single aspect of adult life, it would end before it even truly begins. It's just that high school has problems that are more open-ended and low stakes comparatively, so authors and showrunners don't really have to do too much justifying. I mean, do you really want to watch characters like Gojo do taxes for 3 episodes straight? It's like domain expansion. Oh shit, it's the IRS. And this escapism isn't just tied to adults. When you're a confused teen trying to define yourself, you wish for a lot of unique things to happen to you that you can call your own. High school in anime is just really good at reflecting that teenage desire to be more interesting. Think about it. An average anime high school story probably goes something like, the average looking guy and his niche club / friend group are suddenly joined by the new attractive transfer student, cause it's always a goddamn transfer student. The new transfer student suddenly joins the club / friend group, even though the average looking MC doesn't want to get involved cause he wants to keep his head down and be under the radar. Next thing you know, they go on plenty of adventures, having
Exactly, and he said the word. He said the word exactly. He said like during this fucking like high school period, an adventure, you know. And the sad reality is that like think about it, like at the end of the day, we do not live any adventures at all in this fucking world. Like there is none. Like the adventures that we get is basically virtual adventures, and I understand the romanticism of like high schoolers and this high school reality, because like it's like fuck that, let's go on an adventure. Well, like fuck, it's a way to say fuck the system, but fuck this norm, fuck these fucking like yeah, it works. And it's like, and that's the best part of it, because like yeah, but like, you know, it's necessary and it works, you know, to have this society. Look at the fucking society we live in. What the fuck is even working? What's working is just the shops are like still on, right? But may it be political, may it be economical, may it be like ecological, everything is going worse and worse. So it's like not only we don't get this adventure, but the selling point of you need to keep your heads like you need to be part of the standard. That is not a selling point, because the fucking society that we build is not a society that is reliable, that is creating something. We do not move forward, and we haven't moved forward for a while. The only place where we move forward is actually here on the fucking like cyberspace. That's it. The cyberspace, the video games, the basically what people actually where people actually have the time and creativity. Do you understand how much like free knowledge people share with each other and stuff? But like when it comes to society, at least from someone that like studied this like I will say it a lot. Like, I studied a lot of fucking things to fucking get to how depressed I am, you know, and to how much I gave up. But basically, like, when you see how much society has regressed, well, yeah, we don't get anything, and I completely understand why the fuck people are so obsessed with this bubble where like you don't know yet, you know, and maybe there will be an adventure, you know. But yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this.
Story and fall in love at the same time. It's a fantasy that writes itself. One that any young, dumb, and full of cum teenager would probably like to be a part of. And if you come from a sleepy town where nothing really happens, I'd imagine stories like these are really appealing to you. Add on the fact that we got different flavors of high school, there's a fantasy for everyone. We got magic high school, sci-fi high school, biblical purgatory high school, gambling addict high school, shitty horror high school, and my personal favorite, World War II tank combat high school. Yes, this is real, and yes, it's one of my top 10 animes. I have a form of severe autism, better known as being a paradox gamer. But I don't want to end the video there, because while I've shown you some of the hard facts about Japan and why high school is this easy escapist fantasy, I kind of want to show you guys the personal side of using anime as escapism. In a study by the Legatum Institute that scores how developed a country is based on categories like environmental protection, living conditions, and personal freedoms, Japan does really well in every category except social capital, which measures the strength of personal and social relationships, as well as things like institutional trust and social norms. This is backed up by another survey by the OECD that shows that Japan performs really poorly in 3 specific categories, which are work-life balance, life satisfaction, and civic engagement. Now, what the fuck does any of this mean? To not bore you with the smaller details, it basically means that Japan is suffering from success. All that wealth in technology and development comes directly at a cost of the social cohesion of its people. Japan is a country that technologically is 20 years ahead of everyone else, but socially, it's 20 years behind everyone else. Loneliness remains a huge problem in Japanese society.
Yes, but I will just counter. I will just use another. I will just use this argument of, at least within Japanese society, their norms and traditions are kept alive, and this has a social cost to keep alive traditions like bowing, having the sensei and the senpai and stuff like that, like outside of fucking anime, right? This has a cost, but this is why their fucking streets are safe, and this is why and at this cost, yeah, and this is why people, when you talk to them, you don't want to you don't fucking like hate them all. You don't go outside being scared of everyone and fucking despise everyone and everything, you know? Whereas like when outside today, like maybe America, maybe Europe, you just watch people and you're at this point where it's like we're so socially, yeah, we're more social, we're nicer, but it's like you go outside and it's like, who fuck are all these people, you know? They're not part of my tribes, they're not part of my vibe, you know? And in Japan, they still have it in a certain way. And I think that like this has a cost. Yeah, this is a big fucking cost because like they have like many fucked up things to think about. But at the same time, like for it to be like, at least for everyone to be respectful between each other, you know, and to not fucking have like to not suffer from, because weirdos they are everywhere. I won't be telling you, but like, look at the fucking countries in Europe. Look at the fucking country. Look at fucking America, right? And it's just like they kept the tradition and they respect them, and they're not like fucking like lying to themselves when it comes to like who they are as much as other other nationality do.
With an aging population and a generation of young people expected to take care of this older generation alongside working in a system that actively overwhelms them, many are just shutting down and are refusing to engage with the life that they have. And in my opinion, this tells you everything about why anime loves high school settings. It's much easier to think of a better world rather than trying to make one. When the world is shitty, you just want to get away. And where better to go than a place that represents innocence and wonder? For many in Japan, high school was the place where they got to experience life without the burdens of being an adult. Horrible bosses, unpaid overtime, relatives nagging at you asking when you're going to take the next big step in your life. All of this doesn't exist in high school. The great thing about being an adult is that no one tells you what to do. The bad thing about being an adult is that no one tells you what to do. You're on your own now. Hope you're happy at least. And side tangent, ever notice how isekai makes a big deal on how the main character gets to the other world, but not many isekais ever show how they'll make it back to their own? Almost as if going back to their previous world was never part of the plan. But I digress. A lot of this talk of escapism just reminds me of a story from the SCP franchise. Crazy crossover, but hear me out. One of the entries in the SCP Foundation is a book that, when read, allows any person to experience a fantasy adventure where they are the main character whenever they fall asleep. Sound familiar to you? When testing the effects of the book, a researcher volunteers to use it, then proceeds to fall asleep for 15 hours. Later, when the researcher finally wakes up, he ends himself, saying that he can't go back to this. And what happens next, I feel represents why escapism, for as comforting as it is, can be dangerous. Later in the entry, you find out that in his dream world, the researcher had built kingdoms and raised a family. He conquered foul beasts and rescued princesses. He soon preferred the dream over the waking world. And it's such an elegant way of saying, yeah, life sucks, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to get away for a bit. It's a desire that's inherent in a lot of us. It's why we read books and play video games. Wishing that some circumstances in your life would have been better is not a privileged thing to do. It's a normal human reaction to the shitty hand that life sometimes gives us. But in that as well, it's important to remember that as sweet as dreams may be, eventually we all have to wake up.
This was really interesting. Like, he makes a lot of good points, and I think that like it is escapism is to becomes like dangerous to a certain point because like yeah, like you said, well, you never want to go back after that. Like the story, like there's a story about like lucid dreaming. If lucid dreaming meaning that like you can teach yourself how to dream and control your dreams, you know? And basically like well, did you ever dream? Have you ever had a dream, right? And basically like some people said that like now like they learn how to do lucid dreaming and basically they don't care about reality anymore. They just care about their life within their dreams because they control it, because the impossible is possible, because they're not alone, because they have access to infinite information, because lack of resources, because being poor, rich doesn't matter anymore. And basically it's kind of like the same story, you know? Right? It's like escapism can be really, 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 really dangerous. But it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. This one really kind of touched me. Kind of touched me personally. Anyway. Okay. A couple more. Then I'll actually play video games. Let me just sec. Yeah.
To ask you what looks better, this or this, what would you choose? Now, there's no right or wrong answer here, but I think for most people, they would choose this. But for others, it'd be a no-brainer and definitely choose this one, including myself. But this made me wonder, why do some of us tend to gravitate towards 90s anime more? Why do I constantly find myself watching 90s anime like Yu Yu Hakusho or Berserk?
I will tell you the setting. It's just like during like 90s anime, they have a way to portray something serious, but also something important, but also something fun in a really unique way that for a long time, a lot of anime struggled to reproduce. And I will give you this example. Jujutsu Kaisen struggle. No, Jujutsu Kaisen is an okay example, but like look at all the animes talking about like serious problems, like we invite you to the adventure, right? Type of stuff. And compare it to Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen. And then compare it to like other anime like Bleach. Bleach is a good example because like if you watched Bleach, you remember how serious and how pressuring it was to actually get into this anime. Or Naruto, right? And then there is like the new wave of anime and the adventure, it sounds like kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't have the same weight, it doesn't have the same pressure, it doesn't have the same kind of like lens to it, you know. Like it doesn't have like the same, how can I say it, really it's a lens, you know, like the lenses on on a telephone, on a the fuck is it called? It's not a telephone, but like on the thing that takes photos on a camera, right? It's kind of like a lens, but it's not only a lens with like colors, right? But also like a lens of like just like this ambience. I think. And a lot of anime tried after the 90s, but like you can compare it to Cowboy Bebop, right? Ghost in the Shell, right? Bleach. I'll say it again because a lot of people know it. And then you watch all the anime after that, right? And there is not this like pressuring, like kind of like realistic type of stuff that really makes you get into it. And then there is Chainsaw Man and fucking Jujutsu Kaisen. I really like show you that like in between these two spaces, there was like this abyss where like anime wasn't able to fucking like offer a spectacle that is like immersive enough that makes you actually care. You know what I mean?
Berserk for the 100th time over the new, fresher, polished anime like Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer. And sometimes I'll say to myself that is
Demon Slayer as well.
probably just nostalgia, and even though I'm sure it plays a big part of it, I don't think that's all there is to it. The aesthetic, the attention to detail, the darker tones and characters, all this I believe is what plays a role into why I prefer 90s anime. And all this is done with what's called cell animation, which is 100% hand-drawn animation frame by frame, as opposed to digital animation, what we see today. And it's with digital animation how we end up with that quote-unquote too perfect look. And due to cell animation being 100% hand-drawn, it's allowed artists to be more creative with attention to detail, flaws and all. With its attention to detail, 90s anime has a unique way of getting you invested in the world and the characters that it's building. Which is why I think there's a reason why so many people, even seeing a screenshot from a 90s anime, makes them want to check it out. Like those lo-fi videos you'll usually find scrolling on YouTube. Take this
This is true, but again, like I think it really forgets also the tone. The tone of these animes, like there is like a Mononoke princess right now. The tone of these animes were actually serious, and it had something that like was kind of lost in time. Not lost in time, but like lost over time, right? But now that we can find once again, like Mononoke Princess or like is something really special, you know?
shot from Princess Mononoke, for example. Everything from the attention to detail and the hand-drawn character design, the wolf fur cloak, the red face paint, the giant wolf beside her, to the beautiful green foliage in the background.
Oh fuck, wait, I'm watching the wrong video, fuck. Hey Shazam, I'm actually doing reaction duty. Oh my fucking god. So let me just,
If I were to ask you what
I'm doing well. I'm actually like about to go play WoW after my wait, I need to fucking like check this out. Nice to see you as well. Yeah, I had medical problems. I almost like I had medical problems, that's why. So yeah, I'm doing my React duty because my reaction I have a reaction YouTube that actually works pretty well, so yeah.
what looks better? This? Or this?
Doing okay. Doing okay. Basically like I have like fucked up meds, you know?
What would you choose? Now, there's no right or wrong answer here, but I think for most people, they would choose this. But for others, it'd be a no-brainer and definitely choose this one, including myself.
What about
But
you?
this made me wonder, why do some of us tend to gravitate towards 90s anime more?
Take
Why
care,
do I
man.
constantly find myself watching 90s anime like Yu Yu Hakusho or Berserk for the 100th time, over the new, fresher, polished anime like Jujutsu Kaisen or Demon Slayer? And sometimes I'll say to myself that it's probably just nostalgia, and even though I'm sure it plays a big part
I
of
guess
it,
we'll
I don't think that's all there is to it.
I guess we'll get to play together a little bit more once your season finishes, huh? Like I've been like slacking because of medical issues, but like yeah. When new expansion, we get the time. We have like still one raid ahead of us, you know. So yeah.
The aesthetic, the attention to detail, the darker tones and characters, all this I believe is what plays a role into why I prefer 90s anime. And all this is done with what's called cell animation, which is 100% hand-drawn animation frame by frame, as opposed to digital animation, what we see today. And it's with digital animation how we end up with that quote-unquote too perfect look. And due to cell animation being 100% hand-drawn, it's allowed artists to be more creative with attention to detail, flaws and all.
Yeah, like so I was saying earlier, the difference is really the tone. The tone of the animes was also like completely different, and it was like something like you can compare it how serious and how just like how different it was. Like the choice of colors was important, but also like the way character interacted with each other. It's something that was like lost in time. Not really. It was something that like was I don't know, like that was kind of like misunderstood. And you can compare it to Ghost in the Shell, Bleach, or Yu Yu Hakusho, and the new animes actually like they look good, but also like they share this what he's talking about, which are like Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, and let's say Demon Slayer, right?
With its attention to detail, 90s anime has a unique way of getting you invested in the world and the characters that it's building. Which is why I think there's a reason why so many people, even seeing a screenshot from a 90s anime, makes them want to check it out. Like those lo-fi videos you'll usually find scrolling on YouTube. Take this shot from Princess Mononoke, for example. Everything from the attention to detail and the hand-drawn character design.
Yeah, if you take the time to fucking listen to what the fuck is the story of Mononoke Princess compared to like your average anime, you'll notice that like like the seriousness and how pressuring, but also like how meticulous and just like respectful it is to itself. You'll notice the difference that like something was lost. It's not SAO. It's not like fucking like a new wave. It's not Boruto or something like that, you know, or it's just like way too chill. It was like really like a work of art telling a tale and not a story. I don't know if you get me. Like these animes were sharing tales and not stories. Maybe it will like make sense to some.
Design, the wolf fur cloak, the red face paint, the giant wolf beside her, to the beautiful green foliage in the background grabs you and makes you want to find out more about the world. The dark and uneasy vibes that you get from watching Hiei do Dragon of the Darkness Flame, or the horror of the eclipse from the original Berserk, isn't something that could be replicated by digital animation today. Not to knock any of the more recent animes, because their fight scenes do look great in their own right, but it's missing the soul that you get from traditional animation. Look at the huge difference between 1999's Hunter x Hunter versus 2011's Hunter x Hunter. It's literally like.
And also, I gotta talk about the pressure in a 90s anime that is not as present now. You get it. For me, the best example is always Chainsaw Man, because I love Makima if you exist. I am a devil rank you never saw before. My address, you'll find it. But anyway, the pressure of these animes, like maybe Yu Yu Hakusho, maybe Bleach, maybe Hunter x Hunter, like no matter what, there is something to that, you know? The pressure of these stories, and it's not the case anymore. Like it's rarely the case anymore. But also like, hey, we like to complain about like everything, right? But like now at least like it became mainstream, you know. became mainstream, and I'm happy with that. I won't
like watching a completely different anime. You're not getting the same uneasy feeling from Kirapika's Scarlet Eyes as you are from the 1999 version. Look at how much more attention to detail and soul there is in the 99 version of when Crollo fights Xena and Silva. You can really tell that the artist put their all into these scenes. As a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, there's a reason I could never bring myself to watch Super, no matter how many people told me it was good. Every time I tried to give it a chance, I could never get past the new art style. Everything seems so bright and colorful.
Yeah. Also, I got like there is something to say about this dude is that he is biased. It is his preference, and I completely understand him. And there is nothing wrong about like being biased about like a certain genre of anime. Okay, I am biased about my own games and stuff, so it's also like quite a delicacy to listen to a dude tells you, for me, this is what's the best. You get me?
Colorful characters, for whatever reason, had this weird shininess to them. And to me, it didn't feel like Dragon Ball. It felt like something completely different. There's pictures floating around online if Dragon Ball Super had Dragon Ball Z's art style. And man, was it refreshing to see. Like, you can't tell me the current art style looks better than this. Look at how more threatening and menacing Goku Black looks compared to the current version. It felt like with the current art style of Dragon Ball Super that it felt like I was watching a kid's show. And I mean, I guess technically Dragon Ball Super is a kid's show, but it was just missing that same edge that Dragon Ball Z had. And don't get me started on the character designs in 90s anime. They felt so much more authentic. They felt like the creators really took their time with them. Like, even look at some of these outfits that these characters are wearing. You can't find me anything that comes close to this type of drip in any anime today. And that's what I consider great character design, where you can take a look at a character and without even knowing anything about them, you could get a glimpse of what their personality might be like. Take Spike Spiegel, for example, from Cowboy Bebop. Just from the
I will tell you one little secret about like about Bleach, since we talked about Bleach. So the mangaka that actually like wrote Bleach had a challenge in mind when he designed the Shinigamis. They all start with the same kimono, right? But they need black and white, but they need to be completely differentiable. They need to be able to be differentiated, and this is what he did, and he actually succeeded. Especially like because like you watch Bleach with like in anime, it's completely different to watching it to reading it, right? But yeah, just wanted to say that.
shot alone, you could probably get the idea that Spike is probably a cool, laid-back guy. And I always felt entranced by the backgrounds in 90s anime, like the post-apocalyptic city of Tokyo in Akira or the lush forests in Princess Mononoke. I remember watching these for the first time and wishing that I could go inside the TV and explore these worlds. And as I said before, I could recognize that a lot of my feelings on 90s anime, a good part of it comes from nostalgia. For example, my favorite anime is Yu Yu Hakusho. And sometimes I wonder if that would still be my favorite anime if I never grew up watching it as a kid. Because I have to admit, there's some parts of Yu Yu Hakusho that didn't age so well. And I wonder if I somehow erased my memories and rewatch Yu Yu Hakusho today, would I still feel the same way about it? Or would I still be a big fan of Dragon Ball Z if I never had those fond memories of rushing home after school to catch it on Toonami? I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think that we look at 90s anime through rose-colored glasses? Because when you really think about it, we only think about the iconic series from that era. Whenever anyone brings up 90s anime, they bring up the classics like Cowboy Bebop, Berserk, Sailor Moon,
Ghost in the Shell. No one brings Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell.
Dragon Ball Z. But we don't really bring up all the bad animes that came out from that era as well. But if you ask me personally, even taking nostalgia into account, nothing comes close to the soul that 90s anime seems to have. But I'm interested to hearing what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. Did you think that 90s anime was the best? Do you think that it just looks old and dated? Let me know down below. And besides that, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. And
I really like this guy. So subscribe to the intrusive. Thank you. I think that like yeah, we all have our own nostalgia about certain anime, but at the same time, like 90s anime really created like really created something that like I don't know. They really created an atmosphere that like was difficult to recreate later, but that was recreated by to me like only Chainsaw Man. Only Chainsaw Man. It has different colors, it has like different vibes. Also, but also actually also now that I'm thinking of it, also Kowloon generic romance actually. Yeah, like this is like a good one. But yeah, so yeah, it was interesting. All right, let's keep on going. I have like
What if anime
what if anime?
was real?
Oh my god, I just wish it was true.
Shut the fuck up, you weeb! It's rare nowadays that I ever go back to revisit an anime. Do you see how many shows are airing every season? In this day and age, I can barely keep up with what's coming out. And you think I got time to go back and watch shit like The Hero is overpowered but overly cautious? Huh? Who's still watching this? Who still thinks about this? We're all consuming so much media now that even if you enjoyed a show, even if you found something good in the moment, you can't always predict when something will actually stick with you because we move on so fast. But there is a show that's been living rent-free in my mind and refuses to leave even years after it's aired now. A show so unique, so batshit insane, it explored a premise I've never seen in anime before and since. A show that seemingly everyone around me has already stopped talking about and moved on from. So, wanting to know why I couldn't do the same, I tried seeing if it was actually as good as I thought it was, and deserving to stick on in my memory, and upon my rare second viewing, I realized I was wrong. It was so much better. But I'm getting ahead of myself, because first, it's sponsor time. This video is brought to you by NeuroCloud. NeuroCloud is a brand new up-and-coming roguelike strategy game spin-off of Girls Frontline. Set after an accident occurs in a virtual world, the bionic autonomous dolls, that's waifus to you and I, are scattered all over the cloud, and you, the professor, must gather them and seek resources to survive and search out a way to return to the real world. Woo! That's right, it's an isekai sci-fi, baby! The game's roguelike gameplay is streamlined for a more casual player experience, striking the perfect balance of strategy and fun. Navigate your way through fully non-linear branching paths and challenge randomly generated maps with unlimited possibilities. Every time you clear a level, you'll get function cards and you can use them to improve your team and find the perfect strategy to clear the next level. Not only that, but every character has an ultimate move as well, each one complete with a fully unique Nirvana-specific animation sequence, and man, just look at this. I was beyond impressed by every single one I use. There's nothing more satisfying than dropping your ult and watching this play out as you clear the room of enemies. It also helps that the girls themselves look absolutely incredible. The game's unique sci-fi art style really embraces the setting and provides you with the character arc featuring detailed backgrounds that really gives you a sense of each doll's personality. They aren't just PNGs. You can use these things as your bloody desktop wallpaper. Guys, they aren't just PNGs. So, what are you waiting for? Follow the link in the description to download the game and start your adventure today. Also, make sure to use the gift code on screen to get yourself some free exclusive benefits. Thank you very much to NeuroCloud for sponsoring me today. Back to the video. What would the world be like if fiction became reality?
1秒あれば世界は変わるのだ
This is a question Sota unexpectedly has to deal with when one day he gets transported right into an anime that he's watching. But wait, hold on. He gets transported back and finds out that the anime characters have come with him. Suddenly, characters from all sorts of anime, games, manga, genres start appearing in the real world and start duking it out. It's an all-out brawl. The fantasy knight starts flying around in our reality. This mage summons Gate of Babylon, except it's got bloody rocket launchers. Fucking magical girl appears. How cool is this concept? Now, I know what you're thinking. Gigak talking about another isekai. Yes. But actually, no. Look, yes, we can keep up the meme and call this an isekai, but the premise and appeal is not even in the same galaxy as your standard isekai. So no, I don't like this because it's an isekai. I like it because it's fate. One thing I absolutely love in any medium is seeing elements that don't traditionally exist together clash with each other in a story. Like, that was the biggest reason I initially started to get invested in the MCU in the first place. Growing up, I was never massive into superhero movies, and when Phase 1 first released, that's mostly how I felt. Then, Avengers came out, and I was like, wait, I get to see a billionaire engineer fight a Nordic god and a super soldier in the mix?
Now you have my attention.
Hulk starts wrecking shit. Aliens blow up New York, and Hawkeye's like, guys, I have a bow and arrow. Then, slowly, you start seeing the world changing.
I never fucking understood the Hawkeye. Like, give a penny to this guy. What the fuck?
Governments have to acknowledge the threat of alien invasions. Space travel gets introduced as a normal thing. Doctor Strange comes out. Great, I guess we have wizards now too. Black Panther. Okay, now there's a secret advanced civilization. Thanos invades, and Hawkeye's still like, guys, I still got my bow and arrow. Thanos, you better watch out. I'm gonna shoot you with this arrow. It's a really sharp arrow. Pew pew. Magic, space, technology, gods, super soldiers, you have all these elements, all coexisting, all coming to head in the same universe. Not as a gimmick, but building off each other for a grander plot. And this is the basis of why I love the recreators so much. This is what happens when you take every cliche genre in anime and crash them into each other. Take a look at this scene. We start off with the magical girl and definitely not Saber arguing ethics with the equivalent of a scheming yandere Izaya from Durarara. That's going about as well as you imagined. Then, Superior Asuna and a Final Fantasy mage jump in. Negotiations have broken down. Not Saber uses her noble phantasm. It starts wrecking shit. Her and Superior Asuna go at it. Suddenly, a Guilty Gear character casually walks in. He doesn't have magic, he's got a fucking gun.
I started blasting. Bam! Bam!
Magic versus guns? What wins? Guns. What beats guns? JoJo stands. A Persona character with a JoJo stand joins the fray in battles by using his stand. Seeing all this violence, the magical girl just wants everyone to get along and decides to join in to try and stop the fighting with the power of friendship and more violence. It's carnage, it's mayhem, and just as you think it can't get any crazier, a giant mech just drops in and... What is happening? You have a fate character fighting a fantasy character, fighting a Guilty Gear character, fighting a Persona character, fighting a magical girl, and in the middle of this, there's just a Monogatari villain causing complete chaos. Seeing havoc like this unfold is some of the most fun I've ever had as an anime fan, because if you're a weeb who's watched shows with the characters like this in them, how the hell does this not put a smile in your face? This is a show that rewards those who are familiar with the tropes of anime by taking the cliches you know and flipping them into unfamiliar territory. So you may be wondering, why the hell did everyone else forget about this show? That's what I want to fucking know! The most common complaint I see about the show is that it's just bogged down with too much dialogue because, oh lord, there's a lot of it. The first two episodes open up with a bang. You got giant robots, you got explosions, you got this badass girl playing a gun with a sword like a violin to control other swords, and you're like, oh god, I'm so ready, this is gonna be awesome! Then the next few episodes hits and it's like, can we get back to the sword lady fighting the giant Gundam again, please? The first time I watched this, I came in with the expectations that this was just going to be a dumb, fun action romp with anime from every genre. So when there were several episode stints of nothing but just talking, I would honestly just half zone out, waiting for the next action scene. But on my second viewing, because I knew when the action was coming, because I wasn't just anticipating the next big fight scene, I had the chance to actually fully immerse myself to what they were talking about, and I thought, damn, this is actually interesting as hell. Recreators doesn't just settle with presenting this wacky concept of, hey guys, what if anime was real? But puts serious thought into what struggles would actually exist if characters of fiction could break the barrier to our world. From the biggest effects to the smallest details. Characters that get transported here end up having some sort of sensory overload when they come to our world. The air feels different, the food tastes more flavorful, colors are brighter. What they experience in their world is only dependent on how much detail their author puts into their work. How descriptive was the orange juice they drank? Did the author deem it necessary to add coffee to their world building? But here?
Okay, this anime, I don't know what, where the fuck do you, What the fuck is the name of the anime? This is the only problem with this guy is that like he has the good recommendation. Can you give me the fucking name of the anime? Okay. Okay. This I'll check it out. I'll check it out.
Taste, smell, sight, a whole world of sensations they've never experienced is now at their fingertips, and I just thought this was a cool little detail I never would have thought about. But on top of this, Recreators builds on its concept to explore so many interesting ideas, like what if these creations could actually meet their creators? We've seen this before with gimmicky fourth wall breaks, but to fictional characters, meeting your author is essentially meeting your god, the person responsible for all the bad things, all the natural disasters, all Fortnite dancers to ever exist. How would that make you feel? Would you be happy, in awe, angry, knowing they allowed Sasuke to do this? How would you feel if your god didn't even care about their own story and only did it for money? How would you feel if your god was a pervert and you were only created as an object of sexual desire? How would you feel if you met your god only to find out they were a devil, knowing that you were a character in a tragedy? Seeing these creations cope with the fact that their god was not a god, but in fact so disappointingly mortal, and their entire lives were just stories played out for entertainment, was an aspect that added so many fascinating angles. Every creation shares a different dynamic with their creator. Some came to resent their creators, some formed a pseudo-parent-child bond, some just chose to ignore it and take a deep puff of some of that good copium. And this took the archetypes these characters were based on in so many interesting directions. Take Mamika, the magical girl. Right in episode 2, we find out magical girls are packing some heat. Her family-friendly magic starts fucking shit up. Buildings are erupting, there are explosions everywhere, she almost kills a guy. People are fucked. Then afterwards, she looks around and is like, oh my god, who did this? You did this! You caused all this collateral damage! What the fuck is collateral damage? She comes from a children's show where there is no violence and every problem is solved by the power of friendship. So when she finds out she can cause serious harm and not all conflicts can be solved by telling people to get along, she's just like, This is a character that's completely out of her depth, but through these interactions, she starts to learn a new worldview, she changes her perspective, changes her approach, realizes the world is more complicated than it is in a children's cartoon, and eventually starts taking actions in a way her original archetype never would have, while still remaining the same core character of wanting to save the people around her. This is something that rings true for every creation we see in the show. Alistaria, a righteous fantasy knight understanding a world where justice isn't just black or white. Blitz, a character who has to come to terms that he was created for the sole purpose of suffering. Celestia, Kanaya, Yuya, Magane, character archetypes we recognize are forced into situations we would never usually see them in, and because of that they can slowly change into far more interesting characters than they ever would have got the chance to in their original stories. It's shit like this that had me hooked the entire run, where most shows would take this premise and go, anime characters in real life, duh. Recreator sits down and goes, okay, what if that one person was like this, or that character was like that? How would they react? How does that change the dynamic? And that spawns another idea, then another. The show is bursting with so many unique concepts that takes advantage of its insane premise. The action can be high-octane, turbo-fisto fun, but at the same time, it's a series that's not afraid to just sit down and spend some time chilling with the characters just struggling to live in the world. Does this make up for all the excessive dialogue? No. Even with all this interesting stuff, there's so much of what I like to call anime bullshittery. Characters will just pull a 5-minute exposition dump on why other people are being transported to the real world. How do we fix this? Why the world is coming to a fucking end. And I hate to do this, but girl, this is kinda on you. Half the time when the plot doesn't know where to go, our lovely mage Meteora will suddenly get a bright idea and be like, guys, I have a theory. Go on. That is a fascinating theory. Do you have any sources?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
The show spends so much time and makes up so much bullshit trying to explain its own mechanics, and while some of it is cool, a lot of it really did not need to be that complicated. Recreators, looking at you, nobody gives a rat's ass of your PhD level of bullshit you used to explain why anime characters are here and why the world is coming to an end. If you needed to add stakes, you have an OP villain who hates the world. Just give a time limit before her power becomes fully active or some shit. Come on. Look, we're not here for this.
Shut up, bitch!
We're here for this. There are some other things as well, like Magane's power makes no sense and is just broken in every way. The final conclusion takes so much suspension of disbelief and it's just anime bullshittery shot up into the fucking stratosphere, but honestly, I don't really mind. The more time passes, the more I've just appreciated what this series tried to do, and watching it again made me rethink some of the things I thought I hated about it. I remember the first time I watched this, I absolutely despised Sota. Sota is a shriveled scrotum of a protagonist. Early on we find out that he knows the origin of the villain everyone's trying to find out about, and he just does nothing. Doesn't tell anyone, doesn't do anything. The plot goes on standstill just for him. And I remember the first time I watched this, I was fuming. Livid that this Shinji ass motherfucker was taking up valuable screen time when I could be watching a giant robot turbo fist a fucking flying knight. But then you find out the reason for it and I was like, oh, I think I get it now. Sota isn't a hero like the characters he's standing next to. He's just a normal dude who likes anime. Shy, socially awkward, living with his own trauma, afraid to face the problems in his life head on. Frustratingly afraid to take action, but frustratingly real. He's someone who needs the heroes you see in anime to give him something to aspire to be. And that's when I realized that Recreators is a story about stories. Why is it that fiction exists? Why do we need heroes, villains? Why do our stories require conflicts for our characters to overcome to be interesting? This is something that all the creations in the show have to come to terms with in their own way. Would Guts from Berserk be able to accept what's happened knowing his perseverance inspired thousands to push through their own struggles? Would Olga from Kurino react well knowing that she helped? Never mind. I love stories.
If you know, you know.
We're talking about how much I love stories. And when I saw this series exploring the importance of fiction in our lives, I didn't just appreciate the very original way it went about it, but I also appreciated just how personal it felt to me. And then the show ended on a 4-episode balls to the board action free-for-all, and I was happy again. Recreators is a fan fiction for anyone who's ever created something, a celebration of anime and the culture behind it, a look into the dangers of online toxicity, a boatload of fun, and a love letter to stories themselves. Can it be a little messy? Yeah. Is the dialogue a little bloated? Yeah. Is the pacing a bit off? Yeah, but now I've just come to value something that so specifically speaks to my tastes, even if the execution isn't perfect. A 7 or 8 out of 10 show that appeals to me is, in my opinion, more important than a perfectly crafted 10 out of 10 classic that doesn't. And that's why I'll always choose something like Tales of Arise over The Last of Us, Scott Pilgrim over The Godfather. Hell, it's why I'm so addicted to Genshin, even though I know I could clown on this game for fucking days. A show like this was never going to be super popular or go down as a critically acclaimed classic, but it's a series brimming with so many interesting ideas, so many original concepts, so many fun moments that never fail to put a smile on my face, and a core that speaks to my love of fiction. There is no other anime like Recreators, nothing else I can recommend to you. This was a batshit crazy idea for a show, and somehow someone was equally batshit crazy enough to approve it. Give me a choice of a popular, highly acclaimed anime like Jujutsu Kaisen or Recreators, and I choose Recreators every time. We've seen variations of this show before. They were called Bleach or Yu Yu Hakusho, and no, I'm not calling them the same show, but you know what I mean. Fuck, just look at the beginning of Chainsaw Man right now and tell me the premise and plot structure isn't almost identical. There's gonna be more Jujutsu Kaisens in the future, there's gonna be more My Hero Academias in the future, there's gonna be more Narutos in the future, but there's only ever been one Recreators.
This was really cool. Yeah, I'll put it on my checklist. I don't even know what to say. I think that like these type of shows that actually try to make you feel something and try to push the boundaries of good guy, bad guy, and do not follow the formula itself are what makes anime and this type of actually makes the diversity and variety of anime become greater and greater over time, because it's thanks to show like this that actually you get more interesting show overall. And I won't talk too much about like all of this too long, because I'm kind of done with this for today. But yeah, this was interesting. As always, leave a like, and like and give some love to Gigok. Thank you so much for this video. I'll check it out when I'll get the time. All right, I'll be right back.